Sermon 32 of Nahjul Balagah reminds us that though we may have been born into a situation where we weren't set up to have the right relationship with things in general, we should be of those who don't go to excesses, that act upon what they know and aren't of such that fear what's not there. Some people are being held back from wrongdoing by them not having the means. There are those who have means and use it to do wrong. There are those who have means and use it to do good. There are those who have means and use it to do good and strive towards greater good. And they may renounce these things as being the thing in itself. The rather insignificant things are the likeness of this world. The fourth type that we mentioned there are people who do faith sharing till it's tiring. They do physical deeds until it's sore, or even they may face injury. They control their gaze and their emotions and their expressions. And whether you have, things of situation or not, you want to be with the sort of consciousness that you would be able to make the right decisions if you ever did. Now, before we get into the rest of the letter 31, letter number 32 was to Muawiyah. And it doesn't matter how popular he was. He was responsible for leading them down a certain path. But even then, some people return towards guidance. And he was warned not to continue and to give back control to the godly way. And all that was going on with these political turmoils was just making things difficult. It wasn't really helping things. So saying number 32, was that those who choose the right are obviously better. than the good itself. And those who choose the wrong are worse than the evil itself. In regards to saying 31, Sage Razi says that it was a longer saying, and to keep things shorter in terms of the book, that was left out, even though the previous saying is longer than that as far as what's narrated here. And it wasn't really of the scope of the book to say all that. But saying 31 reminds us that, the disbelief is focused on conflict that both sides want. I personally just want peace in my life. I don't want a conflict or an argument or whatever for its sake. People who just want what they feel like, and those who want to break off and be of their own. That includes terms of truth. And so, when things are good and true, I don't know if unreasonableness is the right term, but they use their rationale towards what is not fitting. Because rationalism still leaves room for some stuff, but ill feeling, wandering, and not doing enough. People who just want to just do enough to be considered part of the path that can result in some issues. It's enough if they do it, but and if the mentality starts to fail, then that's when you get trampled under feet by the world for the world and the side. But it can be that your good side will become evil and that your evil side will become good. So how much of all that is one going to be upon? Now continuing with the letter last time, it's admitted that one is not quite the age of other people in their situation, and age gives some perception. And some things are worth bringing up, and some things are not useful to bring up. And how we should all begin is with the teaching of the Quran, its interpretations from the Prophet, its laws and its commands, what it says is permitted and not permitted, and to not exceed that. Certainly people have their different material and psychological situations, but one can go straight to the sources. And that's how we should make our position strong. And we should be God-fearing. Probably God-regarding is the way that it's to be translated on. Gradually and surely we can know and practice what is actually obliged upon us. And sometimes understanding is more important than learning. And the differing opinions, if it's upon the same thing, maybe you're all right. Don't just dispute just to dispute. Work on your own heart. If there's a disease organism, organ, whatever, social, whatever, there's also a cure for it. Some things, it's not known whether knowledge or something else is for your lot. So, but you are rewarded for your efforts, your efforts towards what is right. And this letter confirms the idea that the A'imma were not such as they were receiving messages like the exemplar or the messenger prophets were. And rather than legends about fighting gods and stuff like this, there would have been some clear proof if there were different deities. Now, the Quran gives some reasons like that. I mean, you see in Greek mythology, some of the things, it's like some of the mythologies, creation is destroyed and undestroyed and all that other stuff back and forth. And the things in this world that people will strive for, while they're impermanent, are, if the actual object isn't, the reaction to the object varies. I mean, when I was young, gold was like $40 an ounce. Now, it's made its way up to 1,800 something an ounce. At times, I don't know what it is at the moment, but and some things that were value, sometimes even if they're more value, it's like how can you find somebody who's going to pay even what you used to pay? I mean, if you have a $200 VHS of some Disney movie back 30, 40 years ago or something like this, that, I mean, they're not all that, not like that. Some of them have, some of these movies and stuff, having the actual VHS, even if it's been released as a DVD or especially, they, and you need to regard yourself in how you're treating others. Admire good and truth. Don't admire yourself. And, just like that thing of the camel going through the eye of the needle, don't heavy yourself with a load that you can't pass through in your spiritual journey. And one wants to be swift, like that thing in the Zoroastrian stuff where you pass over the bridge and you want the bridge to be wide. You want to move quickly. Of course, you don't want to fall in. And of course, the seeing of the hell, as Islam agrees, is, it's not going to be bad for the people who just, So you need to let go of this mere clinging. And if you ask for the things of this world, ask from God. Our creation in this world, our incarnation is for the sake of after that, for our eternal place, or temporary is for our eternal place. And regard the little ones, the little deeds, those of a less position than you in some way. And realize that when things seem overwhelmingly dark or evil, or however you're going to phrase that, there can be, or there is, a gradual shift. And if you pray for things and you don't immediately feel that difference or whatever, don't worry about that. It's coming. Or it's been granted in a different way. And if you desire to go beyond your destiny, well, you can't actually accomplish that just because you desire to go beyond your destiny. It's better to be silent and not act beyond knowledge than to, go back on that. And even if it's pleasant or supposedly physically good for you, if the food is unlawful, either by rule of eating or, because that stuff doesn't always hurt a person, it's more likely to, or usually does, or whatever. Or if it's acquired through unlawful earning or whatever, then, that's the worst food. Not, not when you run out of food and it's like, oh, I'm not going to go. Someone will take me to the grocery store tomorrow, but I'm out of food today, so I have to chew on this bush over here. I know which bush this is, but it's not pleasant. It's not exactly unedible, but it's not pleasant. That's better food than taking from people. And with that consciousness, it really is. And pay attention to your kinship. Pay attention to how you're regarding the interest of others, how you're mentioning others. Redress the evil of people. Don't make it about an embarrassment or anything else like that. Make it about, the wronged, speaking against the wronger, or, that sort of thing. And of course, you guard your other desires and be dignified. It's not so explicit here in regards to that. And know that when others wrong you, they are wronging themselves most of all. So work on how you feel, work on your emotions, work on your thoughts, work on the spirit beyond all that. In some ways you veil, in some ways you lift the veil. And don't put people in position to be in charge of what, isn't their position. And honor the differences of a woman. And each is the responsibility for their own religion. And those who you're commanding in some way, it's for you to command what is lawful and what is fair.